Hey there, Phil. My promo. Let me just pop some chat out. Thought you'd be busy working, Phil. Seems like you've been a very busy man lately. Hey there, Miles. You're not working. You're just kicking back for the night. Alright, so we've got a 2338 M1 type machine. It's got liquid damage, and I'm not quite sure if they want a full working machine or just data recovery on this one. I'll have to find out when Jason turns up. But that's a bad start. Yeah, that's going to inhibit quite a lot of things from working. I guess we'll see. Trackpad combo does not like having liquid on it. Hey Keith, Josh, Ed, here's Jason. Jason, this is your 2338. Not liking what I'm seeing already. Worried it's going to be a data recovery job, or you're going to have to deal with replacing quite a lot of the chassis, and I don't think you want to do that. But anyway, we'll see what we can do. We'll get it up and running if we can, and then we'll go from that point. Oh, Phil, you don't have to apologise for missing any streams of mine. I'm more than happy to have you participating at any time. I know you've got your absolute buttload of work, and you're always exploring new and exciting things. Hey, Paul Howe. At least the upside with the M1 chips is now that the real critical power circuitry that for the CPU is kept under the shield. So, you know, they're kind of learning their lesson. Then again, I'm more than happy for them to continue to have these sort of semi-critical failures. Hey, Andrew Hughes. John, good to see you here, John Lockhart. Where's that dedicated one driver for the one job? But without the driver, it's a pain in the backside to do the job. Oh, by the way, I went to Townsville today and I bought a bunch of stuff. And I got myself a new Dremel. So this is the new lightweight version compared to my old one. So I gotta say the quality of this one is definitely superior in terms of build. The castings and everything is just so much better compared to this one. Also, I'm not a fan of the switch system. Like, you know, it's like a freaking hairdryer, and it's actually quite awkward to use this while you're in the middle of a job if you want to speed up and whatever. Whereas this, it's like you just, you know, button up, but you can hear you can tell it's all messed up, the shaft drive inside. So maybe one day I'll get around to it. The one thing that is better on this is the way they do the lock mechanism. It's nowhere near the the button, whereas this, I have to admit, there's been a couple of times I've pressed the power button instead of the lock. But I preferred the electronic speed range selector rather than this switch mechanism, because this switch mechanism is probably going to fail soon enough. And I don't know why they used a micro USB connector. I mean, geez, these days at least, just use one of the USB-C connectors or something. Micro USB just needs to be phased out as a power connector. I know it has its uses and it's got us through a fair distance, but we really need to retire it. It's simply too flimsy for a lot of these sort of jobs. Cody, you've had 23 MacBooks. Holy damn. Well, you've been making good use of the software then. I hope. Hopefully it's helping. Yeah, the other thing that was different with the Dremel, and another indication that quality is just, they're just pinching dollars here, is this here was the one that came with the one that I've busted up, the carry case. It was pretty good molding, nice two-piece sort of thing. Clips well. It just feels like a decent piece of plastic. This is just like, single piece, cheap as 5 cents from China type thing. It's it's a real shame because you pay a bit more for Dremel, and you put up the fact that they don't use a 1/8 shank. Instead, they use their bullshit 1/8 plus a poof dick. Oh, can't say that anymore. 1/8 plus a bees dick shaft, so that you can't use normal 1/8 shanked gear, which everyone else uses. Like, I've got 1/8 shank drill bits. No, I can't use those. I'm sure I could find a collet that will take 1/8, but then I've got to constantly swap that in and out. Most of the MacBooks are battery and screen. Oh, well, that's alright then. No, that's a pretty good way to go. Less drama, that's for sure. Otherwise, you've got to put up this sort of crap. Now, I'm hoping that if we clean that up, as messy and ugly as that looks, hopefully it's not too bad. Also, I hope the lighting seems alright tonight. And I don't know what it was, but I was listening back on my recordings last night, and it seemed like the audio was coming from the wrong source. It seemed like it was coming from the overhead, but I'm fairly sure it's not. I'm looking at it right now, and it's definitely coming from the wireless microphone. So it's got me stumped why it sounded different. One-eighth is easier to keister. So I went to use the Dremel today to clear out some. I've got an iPhone and it has both the pentalobes have been stuck in with super glue, and I tried to grind it out with a diamond tip bit, the smallest one I can get, and it's just not enough. So I have to basically drill out the pentalobes, and then hopefully the hollow remains of the screw will just collapse out. But yeah. Okay, unfortunately we do have some corrosion heading under the Thunderbolt section and on here, so this is going to have a few secondary issues. I'm saying first thing we'll do is clean up that and see what we're dealing with. Got a 2251 not recognizing battery, open up liquid damage. Okay, well, that could be a few things, yeah. Just check that your I2C lines to the battery and charger are matched in terms of diode value, and that should be good. Let's see, is this a switch? It did, yay! Oh, joy. Now, as far as I can remember off the top of my head, this bunch here, they're all trunked, as in they're joined together. So that's not a big problem. These diodes might be knocked out of action. That cap will be... Hey, Christian. Almost called you Chris. Sorry about that. But yeah, the real problem I'm envisaging is under here. Thunderbolt chips. Miles, what headache are we talking about? I've forgotten already. Yeah, Miles, you're right about that price increase too. That's the other thing. Yeah, you're getting charged a hell of a lot more and you're getting less back for it. I know, yeah, if they put it up to 149 for that mini unit for better gear, I would have been fine with that. But instead, as per usual, they go for the shrinkflation style, and that is you get less and you pay more until eventually they just re-threshold everything. Programming headaches. Oh, right, yeah. Hey, Tom Morgan. I'm still having some issues, and I'm pretty sure it's once again, it's the extractor fan assembly causing an EMP pulse. So basically, all of my gear is getting nuked every time I switch that fan on and off. Okay, we're just going to warm this over and see if we can get a better look at what we're dealing with here. Phil, the UK made the news here with the flooding, so apparently you guys are also flooding, because we're flooding down south in New South Wales, Victoria and stuff like that. But I see you guys are also copping a bit of wetness. Okay, just trying to be careful when washing that stuff away. I didn't want that green goo to go underneath there. Yeah, there's a couple of pins not quite right there, so that's going to affect, I think that's the touch display panel. That one doesn't look too bad. Hey, repair it all. Yeah, Miles, you do get the 6-pin USB-C connectors. They're quite nice. Yeah, they're just basically they're V-bus ground and a pair of CC lines, CC1, CC2. They're not too bad, and I think that's the thing that frustrates me, is that we could be converting over to USB-C for power as a universal replacement, but yeah, the connectors are there, but unfortunately a lot of these factories, they have got a couple of 100 years worth of micro USB connectors. Okay, these are all loose, so they're going to have to be cleaned up. I'm going to try to see if I can do it in situ. Not sure how successful that'll be. These are actually intact, they just look ugly. But yeah, these bottom four, they're going to have to be reworked. So we're going to see if we can do it without removing the connector. All the other pins seem to be intact. Hey, Dadumres. Nick Lacey, Dadumres, yeah, I didn't get back to your email, but I figured you sort of said the final thing last night, so we're all good. Unfortunately, Dadumres, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I tend to have to check on a case-by-case basis with what we were discussing, simply because if I make an assumption, it's probably going to be the wrong assumption. But then again, maybe that assumption is the wrong assumption, and my assumptions are actually correct assumptions. Now, when you get pins that are messed up like this, quite honestly, I really do want to reach for the plumber's flux. Throw a little bit of killed hydrochloric acid on there and spice up those contacts real quick. You're not allowed to do that. It's definitely not recommended. Repair it all, I do agree. I wish they had used that profile, physical profile, and I mean, I certainly was advocating for it myself. Not because it's an Apple connector, but simply because it's a more sensible connector. Physically. If they want to, pump the USB-C protocol over it, that's fantastic. I have no problem with that. But yeah, physically, Lightning was a nicer connector. Unfortunately, that ship has very much sailed. Yeah, if they made a slightly larger version of it, an extra row or two wide. Guess we can't have everything we want. Hey there, Arilla. Alright. Fortunately, we don't have to get a lot. We do want all of these pins to connect, but if we get a few stubborn ones, it's not the end of the world. There you are, that's perfect. Ah, gee. That's totally J5 cents worth. Alright, looks like we've already got our first interruption. And I've just got to go deal with micro, so it won't be too long. Hey, Andre. Don't tell micro to run, that'll make it longer for me to get back. Yeah, we got lucky that time. Micro was just outside the door. Anyway, what we're doing? Oh yeah, that's right, my terrible quality soldering job here. Well, that's somewhat intentional up front. It's just easier to put down a glob of solder and then work your way back. It makes it easier because it also adds more thermal mass, and of course you're flooding those pins, so it also gives it a chance to reconnect to other pins, and it inhibits the capacity for the atmosphere to oxidize it because it's just surrounded in solder. Very average grade of behaviour going on here. Jason, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I wish more people were actually dumped rather than animals. Animals trust humans, which is probably their biggest mistake at times. I'm going to give this some assistive heat. Probably around about 150. Because it is a pretty chunky power plant there. We bought our wild ones a gazebo today. Just just one of those pop-up ones, but this one has a heat shield built into it, and it's a pretty good quality build as well. So, and we also got a chair for them, a couple of other things. They're pretty happy with that now. I've got to build their proper gazebo, but initiative and time is in very short supply for that kind of work at the moment for me. Okay, Coda. Good luck with it. I'm just polishing up these joins. A little bit worried about that one in the middle. Alright, Kata. I will try and not make you have to race back. I think that'll be okay, that one. Human beings are what happens when the selfish gene gets too powerful. I mean, all creatures have the selfish gene. It's intrinsic to survival. But humans got a little too good at it. This Hilti has proprietary service. Oh, great. Yep, they're all doing it. Okay, so that's the connector sorted out for the best that I can tell. That's just wash from when I was doing the connector. Right, we've got to deal with these pins down here. Oops. Actually, they're not as bad as I thought. I really thought we'd have some disconnected pins there, but it wasn't. It was just a case of they had suffered just a bit of black, sort of that black lead effect. That's just a test point. It's not actually on that trace, so that's good. The other point of concern was these diodes. I'll probably just put some flux on them, give them a bit of a boil and see how they go. Other than that, I haven't spotted yet anything significant on this board, and if there are issues, it's probably going to be chassis related. I think it's where a lot of drama comes in as well with MacBook repairs or any PC repairs. But when you're doing MacBook board repairs, and you find that the logic board doesn't actually end up having that many issues, but the chassis has all the problems. Particularly things like the T-Con board on the display and the trackpad. The other thing to watch out for is the Touch ID button. Very often I've found that if they get liquid damage, they will hold the entire system down. Okay, so we're running at 250 here, and it's just sort of giving a chance for that flux to bite in on any corrosion that might be there. So giving the flux a bit of a kick in the pants, making it get some work done. It will, if I sit here long enough, it will make that leaded solder reflow. Hey there, Catherine. Yeah, miles exactly. Yep, and it becomes a data recovery only job. Which is, I gotta admit, more where I'm heading these days when it comes to MacBooks that are liquid damaged. Like, I think I mentioned this in the previous stream. I mean, I've got no qualms fixing up boards, but there's this, okay, look, there we go, there's one there. Not exactly sure what that, and another one got taken out there. This is why we look over things. Okay, these are usually little power gates, little MOSFETs with just a bit of control circuitry around them. Like they'll do things like switch, say, PP bus S5, and then out of them will come S4, things like that. Okay, that one there is not in a good spot. And in fact, it looks like it's kind of messed up the circuit board a little bit. It even looks like it's sort of bobbled out something, but anyway. Trying to decide. I'll use some 80/20 on this. Often when it gets to this sort of level of saturation of corrosion around a device, I like to try and get rid of a lot of that before I throw the flux on. So the 80/20 gives us a chance to remove some of the water-soluble crap, but also protects the rest of the board. Okay. Let's see, Catherine, I try to make a network cable. I bet 2 connectors take more longer than... Oh, what are you doing? Cat 5 or Cat 6 or Cat 6E? I'm glad I don't have to make network cables anymore. I love doing punch down panels, like, you know, when you're terminating into the rack. That was always fun. Oh, that's a mess. Jason, it keeps me healthy using that toothbrush and saves money. Okay, it looks like the pads are still intact, it just looks ugly. Sounds like me in the morning. .5E, okay. That's a little harder on the hands. Are you running them like through the ceiling, or you just doing 5E for the extra boost? Bit of noise reduction. What's sad is I actually find it cheaper now sometimes to, yeah, I'm going to have to scratch that back a bit more. I'll just go and grab a pre-made cable, roughly the length I need, like a 25 meter or a 50 meter, then just lop off the ends and punch them into my wall panel or something like that. Fortunately, I don't have to do that too often. I've only got 3 runs in this house and I'm kind of glad about that. Alright, that has eaten down a little further into the copper, so I'm going to have to be careful. Jason, well, as for Pedro, uh, he's probably doing it himself. I mean, he is Mr. Scam Artist, isn't he? No. I haven't had a chance to watch Pedro's video, but I did see something about that. I yell at him most days, just to keep him on his toes. He's a no good, good for nothing, scamming so-and-so. Hey, Tradie Trev, how's things over there? Scotch Locks Fixel. Well, yeah, they do actually do a pretty good job. If you use them in the right places. Better than just open air twisties. You know, when you just strip off the end of the wire and twist them together, squish them back into the telecoms box, and leave it to the next technician to cry about it. If it works today, it's not my problem tomorrow. Yeah, Pedro needs a Scammer of the Year award. I'm sure he's already given himself that though. Alright, now where was that other one that I was a little bit disapproving of, not disproving. Oh, Jason, thanks. I just got that transfer notice, by the way. Brad, you laughing about the works today, not my problem tomorrow? Ah, here we go. This is what I was talking about. That one there. And there's a little bit of scum, rebel scum in the cracks there, but that will probably be okay. That's ultrasonic cleaner job stuff. Well, the nice thing is, Brad, you know, it's very giving of me because it means that someone gets a job tomorrow. So it's kind of like the sharing community. Okay, I'm not sure if this actually needs replacing. I think it was just, yeah, I think that's pretty good actually. We'll just give it a flux and boil. Good old flux and boil. Does a fine job. Especially when you're doing it 470 instead of 250, but still got the job done. Just a little harder. ISL's balls look okay. I'm gonna have a look and see what that chip actually does. This is on the A20 2020 board, and yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what that chip does. Yeah, we're board swingers. That's what we are. I'm just bringing up the schematic, so bear with me. Yeah, it's that one there, UT311. Okay, it's It's a logic gate. Let's see what's it do. 5ES2 power enable and IPD power enable, and if they're both present, we will produce IPD power enable gate. Okay, no worries. So it's just a 2-input AND gate. So I was wrong, it's not a MOSFET. Though funnily enough, they're not actually that dissimilar in their behavior and what they can do. But obviously that one's designed for... I mean, if you break apart what an AND gate is down into the actual MOSFETs that make up an AND gate, you'll see it's pretty much that. Slightly different isolation, but that's about it. Okay, let's see if this goes boot, whether it goes boom. Maybe that should be a thing. Is it going to be boot or boom? 1 letter difference. T versus M. Okay. Hey, 10 minute. Tradie, you know, we like watching other tradies do stuff. Like I enjoy watching two-stroke stuffing, and I also watch... God, that's a disaster, that one. I'm going to see if it will boot without the trackpad, but that's a little bit too far gone. It's definitely going to have to be removed, so we'll have to drop the trackpad out, replace the cable. If Jason is lucky, that's all he's going to have to do. Yeah, I enjoy watching other technical workers too. Something satisfying about watching the poor bastards suffer more than you for a change. Especially things like car garage people, things like that. That's torturous, that sort of job. I mean, not only is it dealing with a whole lot of stuff that I don't like handling, namely grease, and then you get all the joyous moments of slipped nuts and skinned knuckles, and it's just no thanks. That's it. I haven't been watching Raymond Repairs much lately, but I see that there was some issue or something and he's now doing things on his own. No great surprises there. He essentially outgrew the situation he was in. Jason has the cables, cool. If you're lucky, Jason, it'll just be the cable and not the trackpad. Ach nee, man. Starting to get worried that I didn't want to step in. Okay, I don't know why I'm bothering to connect the speaker, but call it an unstoppable habit. My hand just wants to do it, so I'm just going to let it do it. It's like, okay, little hand, do you want to put that speaker cable in? You do that. We're going to leave that one alone. First thing we'll do is try it without the battery. Better put the standard safety thingy on. We'll use that. So what do we got? 5 volts, 20 volts, looking promising-ish. 300 milliamps, that's also looking like it's trying. 6100, yep, there we go, we've got Apple logo, so we are alive again. Coolant all over the body, like as in glycol type coolant. Yeah, this thing's doing a booting progress bar. Fan's going nuts though. Okay, that's a bit of a problem. Oh, that'll be because the trackpad's disconnected. Haha, Francis, you're so funny. Okay, obviously I don't have a trackpad, so I'm trying to use the trackpad. There's no trackpad. Jason, are you happy with that? Do you want me to just ultrasonic that board and send it back, or do you need me to do anything else with that one? Because yeah, otherwise I'll just schedule that for ultrasonic tomorrow and get it underway. Hey, Thomas Bulver, hello to you. Looks good. Jason's happy. Okay. And since you're being so nice, I will actually go and do the other one that you have here. I would say that the that little AND gate was likely the cause for it to not boot, because it wouldn't have been able to propagate that enable signal. Okay, this has no user information on it, so that's cool. What is this? 1708, no boot. Jason, I don't have it. Do I have another A1990 from you? Because I don't see any A1990s that I'm aware of. There's the machine that I've already sent back to you. I'm just checking to make sure I haven't missed something else. No, that's another company. That's not you. That's not you. Yeah, I don't think I've got anything. I've got A1398s, but we're not going to worry about those. Oh, you're sending one. Alright. Great. Glad to see you're just improving my sense of psychological instability by telling me one thing and doing another. Congratulations, good sir. Okay, so we've got a 1708, no boot. Multiple possible reasons for this. One of the favourite ones, of course, is one of the PP bus caps has decided it wants to, in fact, identify as a aggressive resistor. And the other one is God only knows. Yeah. Okay, so this is just free sitting in there. Okay, we've got a reworked board. Looks like there's been some work up here. I'm going to take the little grommets off because I always lose those grommets. I'm very glad that Apple stopped actually using them. Came up with a better way around. Okay, I am going to... Jason, I'm going to take the drive off. Look, I know it messes up the visual appearance and all that, but I am taking the drive off. Looks like it already had been done before. Sorry. I do get the occasional one in where it's actually the drive that holds the machine down. What happens is one of the caps in there shorts out. And because most of the time we have this tendency of leaving the drive of these 1708s just sitting in there, we don't realise it's the board not at fault, but rather the drive. On 553, let's mark that down. Let's see what happens when we plug it in now. 5 volts, 60, 30, 60, 140, 50. This is booting. That's booting. That's a booting machine, Jason. It seems to be. Replace the drive socket on the one you sent back. Oh yeah, I remember that. How did you do that? That would have been quite a task. Did you have a piece of machinery for it? Something I don't have the room for here. I get a number of requests for certain jobs here, and I'll just have to rebuff them and say, look, I just can't do it because I don't have the room for the machinery that's required. Okay, this is actually built differently to the other ones, but I'm going to have a look at it anyway. The other ones that I often see, they have a large, they have 4 33 microfarad caps, tantrums, whatever you want to call them. And usually one of them blows its brains out. But this is a different one. Yeah, this is a 1031 board, so it's different. Let's check the continuity anyway. Yeah, Tradie, they only did this really on one series, thank God. Although the 1425 wasn't too far off, they just took it to the next level with this one. Okay. Nothing shorted, obviously, there. That will beat, yep. Yep. Alright. In this case, might not be the drive. Okay, we've got an attachment from Jason. Oh, right, Jason's showing me his infrared thingamajig. Can't let my wife see those pictures. A bit difficult for me to answer what I'm looking at. Okay, so maybe it's not the SSD. We'll pop it back in and have a double check. Maybe this is attempting to boot, but it's not quite getting all the way. Oh, there we go. It's going intermittent, is it? Or is it going to start up? Yeah, it's starting up. Alright, I'm going to put that into my 1708 test. Always so handy having test chassis. Okay, where the hell's my 1708? The downside of MacBooks, of course, when you have a lot of them, is that you quickly realise how damned heavy they are. Okay. Now, where the hell is my 1708 test unit? It's around here somewhere, folks. Please stand by. Ah, there we go. So when it boots, it shuts down the backlight. Okay. Well, we'll see, shall we? Now this is a delightfully liquid damaged chassis. You can see red. There's red rover everywhere. And I just realised I haven't... beep. Okay. Things should change now to show the new device that's being worked on. Yep. Yeah, Tradie, that's the USB-C current meter and voltage meter. That's the one that I've been working on as a product to con everybody into buying. And certainly for all these newer MacBooks, anything with the USB-C, they're great. It's also very good for doing on iPhones, because with the iPhone you can get a cable now that goes from USB-C to Lightning and such. And obviously for almost any other device that's going to have USB-C on it. So it's going to become a very useful tool. Certainly it already is for me. Alright, let's see if we can get this to boot into my test operating system. And we'll go from there, shall we? We'll do incremental gains on testing. Oh, just realised this actually has the customer's drive in it. There we go. Oops. Yeah, alright, okay. Okay, 20 volts, 700, 800, 500. Sniffing around, see if I can smell anything. Oh, yep, that's working, but then it kicked out. Jason, this is FlexGate. I think this is FlexGate. I mean, I could be very wrong. Shut down, restart. I guess what I'm saying is it could be FlexGate on top of an existing issue that you probably already fixed. The number is no, I did not figure that out with regards to the reversal, because when originally I had the 6-pin or 5, yeah, I think it's the 6-pin USB-C connectors, and they only gave me single side. And so I switched over to the 12-pin one, which I thought was going to give me both sides, but it for some reason seems not. So I'm a little bit confused, and unfortunately I'm not going to go and do a full 16 or 24-pin version. Okay, so as you can see, we do have display there. No, that's working a full... Okay, but weird, it's not picking up... Okay, it is not picking up my stick. So maybe there is another issue here that I'm... It should definitely pick this up. I'll try on the other port and see what happens. It just kind of flickered on and off when I initially had it booting, and I thought maybe it was FlexGate. Oh, Catherine, you're halfway there. Okay, so alright, we do have obviously that front port here is suspicious. It's letting power through, but maybe not data. That's going to be a pain if that connector needs replacing, because I have pretty much run out of stock. And I found out that those connectors are selling anything from $50 to $150 to replace. It's very annoying. It's cheaper to go and get, or it used to be cheaper to go and just get another logic board for the 1708, a dead one. But they've realized now that there's a supply demand for the replacement USB-C connectors on them, and so they're stripping them from the donors. Okay, looks like I'm probably wrong about the FlexGate there, Jason. It was just a knee-jerk reaction based on it flickering. But it might have been simply that it was reinstating itself or something, I don't know. Don't ask me technical questions. Okay, shut this down. Right, yeah, it could have been doing the updates because of the fact that this is a different screen. Good point. Yeah, it's interesting, Miles. I think I said it last night. There are things that I won't do that other people do, and vice versa. Like actually don't have a problem with doing those USB-C connectors. You definitely have to be careful that you don't take out the camera chip next to it. But if you can avoid that snafu, then it's not too bad. Alright, let's go have a look at the US 3215 section and just see what's going on with the port closest to that. Well, I'm happy at least that it's not the drive and it's not the screen. Tradie Trevor's probably not too much different to, like, I mean, I look at car schematics and things like that, car cabling schematics, and it's like, yeah, I'll give that a big fat pass. The worst thing I find about car cabling schematics is that those wire looms are they're just hell on earth. It was already bad enough on a motorcycle, but on a car, and they're buried inside the freaking walls and things like that. So hell no. Okay, so if we look at the connectors themselves, okay, we don't have any notable gouging or pitting. Okay, so this is the 875, is it? No, 840, that's right, yep. 875 doesn't have the Pi 32 chip. Okay. So we want this one, which I have a feeling is that one. Now we could either have a bad diode on one of the lines, or we could have a iffy CD3215. Yes, it has a fresh fluxy taste. Okay, that cap looks slightly iffy, but it's probably not really anything. We'll plug the power in, we'll check that we get 5 volts here. Something that doesn't work as a test on the new 3217s, incidentally, because you get 5 volts on everything then. Okay, we've got full 20 volts there. We should have nothing there. Yep, okay. That was just me verifying that this port connects to this chip. And I'm going to take that drive back off. I don't want to accidentally do something to it. So Tradie Trev, got yourself a CAN bus for volt log, just to play and understand how it should work. Yeah, it seems to be a pretty big market for having CAN bus systems with all the pre-recorded values from all the manufacturers. It's a bit like me with open board data. You know what, this should be working. Yeah. Is that pillow unheading? Where was that? There. No, it just looked like it from above. Hey there, Graham. How's things on your side, Graham? You're not drowning from the floods there, are you? Sorry, what are we saying is burnt? That does look a little bit messed up, that one, but yeah, it seems okay. It definitely needs a good wash. That's always the case. It's always a bit of a drama when you are repairing these things. You get to the point where there's so much flux on the board, but you also know that you could risk losing that vital piece of information that's hiding somewhere that you haven't found yet. So it's always a tough call. What's this? Your roof's leaking, huh? No good. Mine leaks as well, but not too bad. Is it crooked? No, not really, Jason. I think it's pretty good. I don't see any main issue there. I'm going to double check to see if I can boot from that again. I will wash the connector just to check. Yeah, make sure it's not something on my end. Right side of 40 CF is crooked. Right side, what's 40 CF? Obviously a marking on a part that I didn't see. Below the CD3215. God damn it, people. Okay, so this one, and what? Oh, this. Right side. Oh, right, you're talking about that. Okay, yeah, that's a little off. I will grant you that. Although that is just simply the power input MOSFET gate. It just lets the power in for the 20 volts and things like that. So yeah, it could be straightened up, but basically due to the very coarse arrangement of the pads, that's not a problem. Good spotting, but it's This one here is the one that we're looking at, that we don't have the data coming through properly. So yeah, like I said, we've either got one of these diode lines has been blown and it's pulling to ground or something. Very hard to actually measure those properly. I might just quickly do a diode mode check anyway. So better make sure I've got the latest data. Yeah, we're good. We've got 1290 nets. I've got a good number of bits of data here. We're actually getting to the point where there's too much data. Like you can see, it's getting quite congested. So what I'm going to go is mostly by, let's see, 1v8, UPC, SB. Okay, the CC should be working okay because we are negotiating to 20 volts. Okay, 0.8, 0.8. I'm not worried about V-bus. Alright, so we're going to check these test points here. That's Jason sending me. Alright, Jason sending me a picture of what we just resolved a little while ago. Sorry about that, Jason. Okay, diode mode. I'm guessing, Graham, it's implausible for you to do things like have your own, like own your own business sort of thing. I mean, housing. Okay. 5.2, that's good. So 7.7, yeah, that's good enough. 8.8, good enough. 8.3, good enough. 5.3, yep. 6, yep. 7.1, yep. It's all camera crap. 7765. Okay, 0 correct. Yep. Yep. 16. Yep. Okay, 14 and 15. What have we got here? 1618. Okay, I'm gonna guess these two are actually. Yeah, it's kind of weird that they're the same anyway. 63. Yeah. 15. Oh yeah, that's. Okay, this is all just one big cluster of the same thing. 565656. Down here, same thing. Yep. 6. Yep. Yeah, getting serious with the multimeter out. Why is that such a small window? Sorry. Please stand by as I realize that I haven't taken the time like some people in here to do my transforms correctly. Edit transform. Why are you 480 px wide? You should be 960. Oh, yay. Someone didn't update the height. This mouse is really starting to trigger me. $540 rather. There we go, much better. And we will lock that one. Yeah, well, Graham, it was pretty amusing to me watching you guys live stream the other day and seeing that you still had to battle with your OBS scenes in spite of the fact that you spent so long on them the other night. Alright, I'm going to double check that we do indeed have a boot issue on here, and if we do, I'm just going to pull this off and replace it. It's just a 3215, so I'm just going to pull it off, replace it, and see if that resolves the issue, because sometimes, like if that has already been replaced, sometimes you just get a dud one. And there's not really a lot of point in wasting your time chasing something like that. You just replace it. Yeah, that's why you keep a fair stock of them. Speaking of which, I finally saw, thanks to the discussion last night, that CD32, not CD32, TPS 62180s were back in stock at Mouser, so I bought quite a lot of them today. Now I realise I could have got the 62184, which has the higher voltage range, but I wasn't really quite ready to take that gamble, and I've snared the keyboard cable under here. I'm sure someone out there will, and I will I will base my next purchase on that. I mean, you would think that there shouldn't be any difference, but you know, you only got to be burned a few times by making that assumption before you become rather pedantic about sticking with exactly the chip that is spec'd on the board. One area where, of course, we have stepped away from that is with the iPhones, with the TriStar. You know, and you have like the original 16, what was it? Geez, I can't remember now. 163 or whatever it was. And then we all just sort of kept moving up the chain until we got to the better ones. There's Caradog here. Oh no, someone was just mocking him. That seems like a fair thing to do. Since he's not here to defend himself, that's the perfect time to mock someone. So that's just me spraying contact cleaner into my USB stick. So Francis, I'm sure we'll see you back next time. Okay, here we go. USB-C meter going in. No battery in this one. Even though it's the only bootable device, I hold down the option key because it brings up the boot selector menu quicker. Caradog's camera on high definition overheats. What the hell? What sort of cameras he got that it overheats? Okay, we're booting fine. So, Jason, this just becomes more complicated now. I don't know what we're dealing with here then, Jason. Only went on 4K. Oh, okay. What camera is it, Graham? Because I've got two 4K units here. You got the one that you can see in the reflection. That's the Panasonic VX1, I think it is. And then I've got my face cam, which is the Sony AX33. So that's the AX33. And neither of those have a fan in them. Is it the computer that's overheating or the camera that's overheating? Gremlin computer indeed, I think, Jason. Might just have to... So what does it say? No boot. You know, it could also be a bad SSD connector, or it could be a bad SSD. Unfortunately, you know, this is sort of what we're all getting, isn't it? These intermittent type faults, and it's just too hard to spend the time to really find out what's causing. The camera itself, it's mirrorless, not intended to rerun in a cinema setup. So, oh, okay. Alright, so it's an actual SLR type, well, not actually an SLR, but mirrorless SLR. Okay, that camera works fine. Okay, mine are just handycam, 4K consumer handycams. Could it be inside the port? Yes, it could be inside the port. That's definitely a very likely possibility. What I'm going to say is that I will ultrasonic this board, see how it behaves. It could be simply one of those unfortunate scenarios where, because Jason has done all the other work and we've got flux build up everywhere, it may have been misbehaving simply because of the flux. I mean, it does happen. And when you ultrasonic it, then the issue goes away, never to be seen again. So is that's the computer. Yep. Put that there. Oh, we should try it with the battery installed. And that's when Paul realizes there's no... Where are the screws? Right, there are no screws. Hey Jürgen, how are you? It's a tradey trade. I had a Canon 550D that we were shut down after... Wow, okay. Jeez. Talk about pushing them. The data seems to be okay. I mean, it booted, and macOS is usually a real fickle bastard for booting when it's not happy with the drive. And right now I'm not happy with my capacity to install this battery connector. Aha. Let's see if this thing charges. Yeah. There probably are, Jason. There were on the one I did last night. Hello. Ah, damn it. Proved me wrong. Yeah, it could have even been an MV RAM reset requirement, which would have occurred in a way when we changed it to a different chassis and it reset things. And hello, Cecilia from Poland. Your country's certainly been in the news from 48 hours ago, even more so. Hot glue it. I like that idea. Adrian Russell. Well, we're pretty flippin' hot over here, to be honest, Adrian. I think we hit about 38 today with a humidity of pushing 80%. It was distinctly uncomfortable today. I took a 3 hour drive into Townsville and back, but I was smart. I left here at 6 o'clock in the morning, got to Townsville about 8:30, and actually I left 6:30. Yeah, got to town at 8:30. Went to Bunnings. Bunnings is a great big hardware store that contains everything for us pretty much here in Australia. Grabbed what I had to, went to the pet food store, grabbed some pet food, headed home, and got back home by 10:30, and things were pretty roasty by then. But I bought a nice 3 by 3 meter gazebo with a heat shield built into the tarp that you put over the top. A couple of other things. Oh, and my new Dremel. So once it gets over about 35 here, things start to get a little bit uncomfortable. Once it's over 40, it's definitely uncomfortable. Okay, Creature. Oh, you're from South Australia. Okay. Whereabouts in South Australia? You in Adelaide, or you're in the hills, or you're Port Pirie? Oh, what? Not Port Pirie. Is it Port Pirie? I can't remember. The lead mining town. Yeah, Bunnings is like Home Depot or Ace Hardware or something like that. Okay, I'm just seeing if this charges. So we're going to be watching. Okay, we're doing 2.98 amps. That's pretty good. You're in SEQ. At night now, we're probably getting 22. So, yeah. I'm just going to give this another couple of minutes, get that charge up. You're around the Adelaide area. Oh, okay. West of Central Business District. Okay. I used to be down in Seacliff, but that was a very, very long time ago. We're approaching 50 years ago now. Back then, when Adelaide essentially had two destinations, you either went to the mall or you went to Marion, and that was it for shopping. Arnold, they're probably cooked to death at the moment. And yeah, the heat is very unpleasant, and this is why I need more solar on the roof. I've already got 6.6 kilowatt. I need a lot more. We could double it, and that would cover our day running consumption. But we have, I'm trying to think now, 1, 2, 3, 4. More. We've got 4 splits, 3 box air conditioners. And it's a 220 square meter house, and it basically is nothing more than a glorified tent with one side missing, and we're trying to keep it cool. You have the vineyards around Barossa. Well, you got Maggie Beer up in the Barossa. I always did want to get up there and say hello to her, but I think that time's pretty much moved on. 1.21 gigawatts? Gigawatts or gigawatts? It should be terawatts these days. But yeah, I could easily do with 10 kilowatt on the roof. But we need to put it on the other side of the roof. So at the moment, most of our power comes from around about 7 in the morning up till about 2:30 in the afternoon, and then it starts to drop off. But if we put, say, the next 5 kilowatt or so on the other side, then we'll get it all the way through to the end of the day. We still haven't clocked up a percentage point yet on that battery. I mean, it must be charging because, or at least trying to charge, because we're really going crazy with that USB-C meter. By the way, you may notice that the rate on the USB-C meter is considerably higher than it was before. That was just an accident, because the original code is written for a 1 megahertz running cycle. But with the T414s that I moved over to, they run at 3.3. and I must have, one of the delay lines I've done must have been tied to the clock cycle directly without compensating. So anyway, we have a fairly rapid rate now, and I actually quite like it. It's nice having it run that fast. Is battery storage financially viable? It is close to being, and I think for someone in my position, it's probably a worthy investment. I feel like though we would really need something more like 40 kilowatt hour of storage. 20 kilowatt hour or 14 kilowatt hour just isn't going to cut it. We would stress that battery more than it needs to be stressed. So I think we would have to go for 40 kilowatt hour. I'm kind of waiting to see if sodium ion batteries become a realistic option for stationary storage. They're moving towards street battery hubs now. Yeah, that is actually a good idea for them to do that sort of thing, street battery hubs. And then essentially every block is its own power supply. It's a smart way of doing it. Switched In is a cool company to look at. You integrate batteries into the mix, export and power. Up here, we don't get to really choose. We simply have one energy provider, and that's Ergon, and we're limited to 5 kilowatt export. So realistically, beyond that 5 kilowatt export, of which I don't actually export that much, everything else I'm essentially freestanding. Yeah, solid state batteries are basically, yeah, it may as well be fusion that you're talking about. Like, I know everybody likes to, well, not everybody, many people like to bring up the whole compact reactor sort of thing. I just don't see that actually panning out very easily. Even if you can get around the technical aspects, in which case we already do kind of have that if you use an RTC generator. Of course, I don't think they'd really care to have lots of, well, that's where the political side comes in. Who wants a lot of plutonium or Americanium floating around in suburbs? Not so much from the risk of contamination, but rather from the proliferation risks. Yeah, I don't know what to think, Jason. I think I'll give it a wash, send it back to you, but yeah, this one I'm gonna consider as undetermined, indeterminate. Right, but yeah, I'll give it a wash, but other than that, I don't think we're gonna achieve anything at this point. Alright, what's the time? 23:37. Might be able to slip into something else. Let's dun dun dun. Crap. Someone's running out of bench room again. Every damn day. Pretty sure I had another one here. No, IFX. Where is the other one? I've already done 2 tonight. Oh yeah, I have, yeah. Okay, right. Jason's basically done. I was just losing my mind there for a second, thinking I'd missed something obvious. Okay, what have I got here? Pepsi and keyboard running slow. Well, of course it's going to run slow. It's got Pepsi in the keyboard. No, you know what? Actually, I think I am going to call it tonight because I did have that long drive today, and I think it would probably do me good to just kick back for tonight. Sorry, yeah. Can't just continue on with everything. At least you got a couple of repairs out of me tonight, considering the workload that I did today. And, yeah, maybe be back tomorrow night. We'll just have to wait and see. It's funny, I don't actually intend to do these late in the evening. It's just that during the day, I'm either dealing with finishing up jobs like, ultrasonicking, reassembling, verifying, packing, dealing with people, customers and stuff like that. So that's on Facebook, SMSs, emails. And then there's, of course, just the normal daily stuff of handling the pets and eating, that kind of thing. And then, of course, you finish that phase of work, and then you have dinner or tea or whatever you want to call it. And then, about 9:30, 10 o'clock comes around, and that's about when I can finally get started on actual MacBook repairs. Every now and then I do manage to get to do them during the day, but it's actually quite irregular for me to get that done. So, anyway, I'm out of here. You all take care. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Catch you later.